The best part about James Gunn's Superman could be the same aspect that made the Guardians of the Galaxy movies so special. The DCU starts its first chapter with two projects that introduce a wide variety of characters. Creature Commandos features over a dozen monsters that may eventually return in live action, and Superman introduces multiple heroes and villains who can, or wish to, be compared with gods. Besides Mr. Terrific, Metamorpho, Hawk Girl, Guy Gardner, the Engineer, and a villain who may or may not be Ultraman, Superman's packed cast introduces a brand new version of one of DC Comics' most famous trios. David Corenswet's Clark Kent, Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane, and Skylar Gisondo's Jimmy Olsen are all making their DCU debut simultaneously in the franchise's first live-action installment. The Superman trailers haven't spent too much time setting up the trio, but their friendship may be more important to James Gunn's Superman than it seems. The Guardians of the Galaxy's character relationships can elevate James Gunn's Superman. Superman's main characters' relationships may be the heart of the movie. An essential part of the Guardians of the Galaxy's popularity in the MCU is their close bond as a team. The Guardians of the Galaxy used to be a rather obscure Marvel property before their MCU adaptation, and James Gunn injected his signature sense of humor, action, dialogue, and most importantly, character dynamics into it, making the MCU's Guardians as popular as the Avengers. Rocket Raccoon and Groot's friendship, Yondu and Star-Lord's father-son relationship, and Peter Quill and Gamora's irreversible split were pivotal elements in their respective installments of Gunn's Guardians of the Galaxy trilogy. Likewise, the heart of James Gunn's Superman may lie in Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Jimmy Olsen's close bond. Considering Gunn was able to turn characters as outlandish and obscure to general audiences as Groot, Yondu, and Nebula into fan favorites, it will probably be easy for the director to make Superman, Lois Lane, and Jimmy Olsen the next fan-favorite movie trio. If the Guardians of the Galaxy weren't enough proof of Gunn's talent for compelling character dynamics, he also showcased it in the Suicide Squad, where Gunn crafted a thrilling, humorous, and heartwarming bond between absurd characters like Polka Dot Man, Ratcatcher 2, King Shark, and Peacemaker. James Gunn's Superman could mark the first time Clark Kent, Lois Lane, and Jimmy Olsen are truly close on the big screen. Superman's closest human allies have rarely been a real team outside the comics. Henry Cavill as Superman and Amy Adams as Lois Lane. Despite the popularity of Superman's Golden Age and Silver Age comics and their influence in the comic book medium, Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen has been largely forgotten by most DC adaptations, especially movies. Jimmy Olsen had a secondary comedic role in the 1948 Superman serial and 1952's The Adventures of Superman series, had limited screen time in the 1970s, 1980s Superman movies, and was reimagined for movies like Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, where Jimmy Olsen was killed in an undercover mission, and shows like Supergirl, where he became the superhero guardian. Therefore, Clark Kent's civilian stories have been majorly anchored in his relationship with Lois Lane. While Clark Kent and Lois' romantic relationship is a vital part of Superman's lore, it isn't the only important relationship in the Man of Steel's life. For decades, Superman, Lois, and Jimmy Olsen formed an iconic trio, with Jimmy once synonymous with superhero sidekick friendships. Though many adaptations include all three characters, none have gotten close to capturing the peak of their friendship. If James Gunn puts the same focus on the DCU's Clark, Lois, and Jimmy as he did on the Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad, this problem could be solved in the span of one movie. The few Superman adaptations where Jimmy Olsen has played a prominent role haven't developed the bond between Clark, Lois, and Jimmy over several installments. In the DCU, David Corenswet's Clark Kent, Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane, and Skylar Gisondo's Jimmy Olsen can remain an inseparable trio after meeting each other in James Gunn's Superman. Their friendship may evolve over multiple installments, not only in the form of Superman sequels, but also spin-offs, crossovers, and cameos. Since James Gunn has a 10-year plan for the DCU, Superman and his two closest human allies may be a central part of it. The Guardians of the Galaxy received a holiday special that delved deeper into their relationships with a lower-stakes plot, as well as a series of standalone shorts starring Groot. Meanwhile, the Suicide Squad led directly to a Peacemaker spin-off. Which DCU project Superman can lead to are still unknown, but Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen could appear in more than one, alongside Superman. The Superman trio could also play an important role in future crossover projects the same way the Guardians of the Galaxy stayed together in Avengers, Infinity War and Avengers: Endgame.